Welcome to It Starts With Whiskey, the podcast where every conversation begins with a sip of whiskey and takes us on a journey through the diverse landscapes of life. I'm Ryan.
I'm Thee.
And I'm JoJo.
Together we'll embark on an adventure filled with spirited discussions fueled by our love for whiskey and ignited by our passion for exploring the world around us.
And of course, no conversation is off limits. From thought-provoking debates to lighthearted banter, expect a healthy dose of controversy as we navigate through the complexities of life.
So grab your favorite glass, pour yourself a dram, and join us on It Starts With Whiskey, where every episode is an adventure waiting to unfold.
And we're here to talk a little whiskey and quite a bit of other things that may digress from there. While we're all professionals in our fields and careers, we are not experts in professional whiskey people, but we definitely love it, and it's kind of what brought us all together. And
thanks for joining us on our first podcast episode, I guess they're called. We're going to tell you a little bit more about ourselves and what brought us together, like Ryan said. Maybe whiskey brought us together, but we've become so much more in our friendship, and we're looking forward to sharing that with you. So I'll turn it over to Joe real quick.
Yeah, to reiterate what both of them said, we always get together and we'll share a tasting or a glass of something, because Ryan always is finding something new, and we enjoy ourselves, but our conversations and the topics we talk about go so much further, and you never know where it's going to end up. So buckle up, hang on for the ride, because it's going to be fun. So enjoy yourselves, and thanks for joining.
so how we met.
Yeah. How do we meet? Started with you and me, Ryan.
I know. We were daughters at school together.
Wait. Actually, it started with me and Joe. Then me and you.
Yeah,
Then the three of us.
There you go. Kick it off.
Cow.
Yeah.
It just hit me all of a sudden when I said it. So it did. Like, I think our three friendship here kind of sort of branched out at that point. But Joe and I have actually been friends for 25 years.
Aging us. That's great. Thanks, buddy.
Mm-hmm. I'm here for you.
So high school? You guys were friends in high school?
Yeah, actually in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe and I met a long time ago at a club.
Yeah. I won't tell you about it.
Yeah. It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
We've been through a lot together.
Yes, we have.
But then this guy came along. So tell him, how did we meet, Ryan?
So our daughters were both at the same school together, and I got suckered into being on the school board. And I think we were at a dinner or something, some school function one night. And Athena and I started talking, got her suckered in. And that was about 12 years we were on there, 11, 12 years.
Yeah, something like that.
I think, somewhere around there.
Yeah. That was an adventure. I'm sure we'll have stories about that at some point.
Yeah, and getting out around COVID time was optimal.
Yeah.
Things got crazy, and school was in a good spot, so
that's right.
Time to move on.
Speaking of COVID, those kids you're just talking about graduated in 2021. So just as, the world was starting to change again. And so that's when Joe and Ryan met at my kids' open house. And at least that's when I remember you guys meeting. So,
yeah.
And we were talking about...
There was a hockey game. There was a hockey game before that.
I went to a hockey game.
Oh, that's right. For the school board.
Yeah, I was in the box.
That's right.
It was fun.
Yeah, and then...
Just before that was the hockey game, and then the open house, which was in the spring. And then that's where I mentioned I had those tickets for the Bourbon Fest, which we'll get into as we introduce our own adventures in bourbon personally. But I think Ryan bought his tickets right there. And next thing you know, a couple months later, we were heading on our first journey to Bourbon Fest in Grand Rapids. So
yeah, I think we left your house, I think we were drinking Eagle Rare or something.
Yeah, we did have a couple.
Then we all ended up here.
Mm-hmm.
And had more.
And I knew then it was going to be a good time.
Yeah.
So introductions to whiskey.
Yeah.
So my first introduction to actual bourbon, whiskey growing up, I was always Crown and Coke. It's like kind of vanilla there.
I remember the first time I saw all your Crown bags, these purple velvet bags all throughout his house. I was like, man, this dude's got a problem.
Little did you know it was a bigger problem than what you thought. So, so going back a couple more years before that, I had a really good friend, John, that was from Kentucky, and we worked together. Was one of our suppliers at the time, in more ways than one. So John would always come up and
that's a different episode.
Had some. We were drinking some moonshine and stuff, but he'd always bring me a bottle of bourbon up, and I was not that big into it then. But then, as we were talking about earlier, the world shut down, including the liquor stores.
That's right.
And stuck at home, burned through all my Crown, and had the 2 bottles of bourbon that John had brought me. A bottle of Wild Turkey Forgiven and a Devil's Cut Jim Beam. And a couple cigars on the back porch, and next thing you know, I was hooked at that point. And then that was when it turned into a liquor stores started opening back up.
Yeah.
And jumping around. It's like, ooh, what else is there, you know? And then I was that guy. Once I started doing research, it's like, oh, do you have Blanton's? Do you have Eagle Rare? Do you have, you know, all the stuff you can't get?
Yeah.
And so after that, and 200 bottles later,
Plus. 200 plus.
that's about.
We've probably gone through 200 with you.
Right.
So anyways, that was my kind of intro, and then then it turned into an obsession, which will be a later episode.
Yeah. So there's a lot of later episodes to get through. You know, just to give you guys a heads up, this episode here is going to be rather simple. Just doing these introductions. How did we meet? How did we get here? Our own individual journeys as well as everything collectively. But
and we also decided to bring our bottle, first bottle that got us in. So before we flip it over to you, I gave us a pour of the Forgiven. John, I still have a little bit of that left, and there's a little story behind this one. One of the employees at Wild Turkey had accidentally mixed some of the rye batch with the bourbon, and ended up turning out into a really good bourbon, won a lot of awards. And then we just looked it up the other day, and it went from $35 a bottle or something to $600 if you can find it online. So anyways, this Wild Turkey Forgiven, it is a mix of straight bourbon and rye, and has a nice smell to it. It does have a little rye. I can tell there's a rye spice.
JoJo loves it from rye.
So one of these episodes, we're going to learn more about what makes it a rye, what makes it a bourbon, but
what makes it a sour mash?
I just got.
When do I get to try it?
It smells sweet.
It has like a mature flavor to it, like
it's good.
Wow.
And it's really
that
smooth.
$600 bottle may end up at my house. This is good.
I'll send you the link. You can go buy another $600
bottle was over here at Ryan's house, which again is
another story. This is super good. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Oh, and there's another disclaimer. Ryan is one of the most giving, sharing people I've ever met. Like, he'll get a bottle and he shares with you, and he's just a little bit better about getting a lot of bourbon. But we all get bottles and share with each other. But Ryan was definitely the giver of the group when we all started, because he had the most. And then I stepped in and got a big collection, and these got hers.
I just couldn't drink yours.
That's okay.
That's good.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
you guys are going to get to know the three of us are, we're quite different in quite a few ways. Not only what we do, professionally, where we come from, what our personal lives are like, but, where our interests are in whiskey. So you're going to find I'm your noob. So I'm going to be the one asking questions. I'm going to be the one who doesn't have 200 bottles of whiskey at home, but really does enjoy this, friendship that has come about because we enjoy tasting whiskey and talking about it, and then all the lovely conversations we get into after.
That was kind of what led us to this.
That's right.
It always starts with a glass of whiskey, but and the intent of our podcast, like we said, is not to be full whiskey experts at all.
Right.
We're just looking forward to the conversations about everything afterwards that'll come along, and in the future episodes will be more structured. This is more get to know us. So, okay,
That's
D,
good.
you're up.
I'm up. All right. So one thing I know in my experience in my career is that witness testimony is not very reliable. I am not a lawyer, by the way, but we'll talk about that later. But so I was sitting here trying to put together, like, how did I get to this whiskey? And so there's like little bits of my memory that are very sharp for me. I remember having a drink with a coworker on a work trip one time, and then on my way home from the airport that day, I stopped and bought a cheap bottle of Canadian whiskey, and I just started sort of goofing around with it, but didn't become passionate about it. My life partner, Sarah, she saw the interest that I was starting to have in whiskey, and one year for Christmas, she got me a bottle of whiskey. She spent a little bit of money on it, considering where our budget was at that point, and we considered it to be a pretty fancy bottle. And so she told me it was for special occasions only. And I remember it took me a whole year to drink that bottle of whiskey. It really was a special occasions. And this is even before I started hanging out too much with you guys and having our whiskey chats together. So a little bit of bits and pieces of the memories that come together. And so for me, that bottle that Sarah got me was a Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond. Really nice, sweet, in my opinion, nice whiskey. It is not your normal, you find it more often, a regular McKenna bottle. This is a little bit different. It runs in the around $60 price range.
Which was easier to find
60 or
before
70.
it won Whiskey of the Year in 2019, I think.
And I think that's the year that because Sarah did some research. I mean, Sarah's not a whiskey drinker, but that's what she did for me. So
That sounds like Sarah.
here's some Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond, which
Thank
we'll
you.
talk about that at some point too.
It's a little stronger on the nose than
Mm-hmm.
Forgiven. What was the proof on this one?
It's 100 proof.
Mm-hmm.
What was the Unforgiven?
Good question. Oh, yeah, that was a little stronger.
It's got
It's
bite.
stronger.
It's got bite. So,
But it's a good flavor.
It's got a really great
caramely.
yeah.
Yeah. I can taste the caramel.
So I'll be perfect disclosure to all. When I sit and drink a whiskey, I love to put an ice cube in it.
Mm-hmm.
And for some they say that opens it up. It adds a little bit to it. It also can kind of mellow out some of the bite.
Yeah.
So for me, I would sit down with this with a nice ice cube and enjoy it that way.
I would like that better here.
Mhm.
Because I was looking at my face, I'm like, I look like I'm in pain. But it wasn't pain. It was just like my
It's
wheels.
a good kind of pain, though.
Yeah, it is. But my wheels turn when I'm trying different things and I'm picking up like, what am I smelling? What am I tasting? And then I'm working through sometimes they burn on the way down. So I'm always thinking. So it's not a pain face, even though it really looks like it. But it is a good pain. This is actually really good.
Yeah.
I enjoy this.
Yeah.
But I would like it with a cube.
And there's something to be said if it's going to bite. when you take that first one, because honestly, I haven't had this in so many years that I
Yeah.
forgot about the bite.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
As
too.
soon as I had the bite, I was like, oh, shoot. Oh, yeah. I mean,
But as I took more sips, the bite wasn't there as much.
It's because it burned your taste buds off.
Is that what?
make it talk.
Hi, Eve.
Ryan's what's the
My wife
better
is
half?
very accepting of
The better
my
half.
obsession here.
You know what? She's a giver. She's whew. She loves him because man, oh man, mine would kill me.
So what about yours, Joe?
Me?
Yeah, you're up.
Well, we know how I work. So I was in Louisville on work. This is about maybe 5.5 years ago.
And we probably should let everybody know that you and I travel
Oh
a
yeah,
considerable
I
amount.
travel a lot. Like I'm on a plane almost probably 3 weeks out of the month.
Yeah.
So I'm always going somewhere, and so I'm in Louisville, and I know how to say it. You gotta put that like marbles in your mouth. Louisville. They laughed at me. I'm like Louisville. So, anyways, so I'm in Louisville, and I don't remember if I was at a hotel bar, but anyways, I ponied up to the bar. I sat next to this guy, and he's drinking. And I said, "Hi, sir." I'm like, "How do you know a good bourbon?" So he's like, we started chatting. He's like, "Hey, bartender, let her try." And all of a sudden, before I knew it, I had 5 shot glasses of bourbon in front of me and a glass of ice. And he said, "Listen," he said, "what I want you to do is I want you to try it neat." I'm like, looking at him, I'm like, okay, neat. What's that mean? So that was without any ice. So he's like, try it, get a sample of it, and then you can put in 1 ice cube. Cool it down, it opens it up, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I went down and I tried, and then I had water in between and tried them all. So that was my, and he was like, swish it around in your mouth, and he was kind of teaching me a bunch of different things. That just sounded horrible, but no, stop it. You stop it right now. I don't.
And this is what we're saying.
I don't
These
do that.
conversations
I
may
do
have.
not do that. That's not my jam, Ryan. Yeah. So this
Sorry.
is what I have to deal with, you guys. I mean, don't you feel sorry for me? But but it's really cool. Like if you will swish like that, the bourbon, get your head out of the gutter. But no, it makes the bourbon taste differently.
You're still going.
I am still going.
It's fucking cut.
Stop it. Cut it out, Joe. Yeah, welcome to Joe. Yeah, if anybody's gonna.
And now you know why we wanted to do this, so you
Yeah.
could all experience the
Yeah,
Joe.
little Joe. You know, we went somewhere. Ryan was a little worried about me and how his friends would take me. So yeah,
We made it.
yeah, I don't know. I'm a stalker. But anyways, it was really nice of this guy to teach me and let me try all these bourbons and pay for them. It was really sweet. And out of all of them, my favorite was the Michter small batch. So that's what Michter's is what really got me into bourbon at first. I really like that taste profile, the flavor profile, the smell. I just liked everything about it. So that's my pick is Michter's. So I hope you guys like it.
It's a little lighter on the nose
A little bit.
than the McKenna.
But I don't,
Do you know what your proof was?
I do
on the
not.
mixers?
Has a smoky,
a little bit.
slightly smoky.
Yeah.
There's something different about it. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I'll like it as much anymore.
It's pretty good. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
good.
more
There
mild.
is a smoky aftertaste, right? There's
Yeah.
a coming down. It is smoky.
So this is the Michter's rye?
Nope.
No.
I love Michter's rye.
I got confused.
No, this is small batch.
Small
Okay.
batch.
So this is bourbon. Michter's small batch. I really enjoy it, and you'll get to hear about kind of what my flavor profile is. It's kind of funny. Everybody's kind of got their own thing. So I've got a certain profile. I've fallen into different things I like, but people that are into whiskeys, what did I say now? You turds. So what I can say about the bourbon community is they're all so wonderful, and they're sharing, and they want you to try different things and experience different things because they enjoy it as well. So
Yeah, and when you were talking about that, that's what I was thinking about too. I've got a friend, Josie. I'm allowed to say his name, but I won't tell you everything else about him. But there's a restaurant. So we're from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah.
And there is a restaurant downtown that we like to go to, Butcher's Union. Shout out to the Butcher's Union team. So one night my wife and I were there sitting at the end of the bar. I always sit at the corner right by the bourbon shelf or the lockbox so I can see what they've got in this week. And short Hawaiian guy comes over, sits next to me, and starts talking, asking what I'm drinking. And next thing I know, I have 4 different glasses of Japanese whiskey in front of me. And I had never had Japanese whiskey. But then he bought some other bourbon. And the next thing I know, Eve was definitely driving home that night. But it's a very close-knit community.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Especially traveling.
It's social. I mean, I don't travel nearly as much as you guys, and I still have a story like that, sitting at the bar, and you look down the bar and the person down there's got a glass that looks just like yours, and the next thing you know, you're talking about what whiskeys you each like and buying each other different ones to try. And I mean, it's just there's a community out there. I mean, we're not the first to enter this podcast realm. We're not the first to, sit down with friends and enjoy whiskey and stuff like that.
But Joe's got lots of good stories. You're gonna get to hear.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, like I said, with us traveling so much, I mean, there's stories from this weekend.
Yes, there is.
But I don't want to scare everybody off before.
Yeah.
But kind of back to our Bourbon Fest, though.
Yeah.
We've been to 3 of those,
That's right.
all 3 of them so far.
Are we going this year?
Good question.
I got invited. I got asked, are you going to Bourbon Fest? And I'm like, we'll find out today.
We're live.
So
We're
live on today's episode of It Starts With Whiskey.
Yeah.
Will we be going to Bourbon Fest? I think we should go.
I do too.
but not VIP this year.
No. Yeah.
We can. So
Let's just go socialize.
Yep.
So the first year we went
Yeah.
and
God, that was
we did the VIP thing, which
That's
you
great.
get to try some allocated stuff.
Actually, because I bought the tickets for Joe and I bought the cheap ones because I'm cheap. You'll figure it out.
my best
in a
friend's
bit.
cheap.
But Ryan, he knows.
He knows
It's
things.
a good deal to go to Bourbon Fest with the VIP tickets. So when he bought his tickets that day at my kid's open house, he bought the VIP. And Joe and I were like, I wonder if we should get the VIP. Whoa. We start doing our own little questions, and then in line we decided we were going to upgrade to VIP. Well, when we get up there, only one of our 2 tickets could be upgraded to VIP. So we did, like a good throuple that we are. we shared a bunch of those VIP tickets. They only let certain people go in, but you can walk out of the VIP area. And so Ryan and Joe went in with their tickets and came out and we shared.
We
I think
shared
it was
glasses.
pre-COVID,
Yes.
a couple of years, or post-COVID, actually. No, post-COVID.
Was it post?
Yeah.
It would have been like right after COVID
Okay.
because I'm surprised we weren't masked while we were in there. But
True that.
Yeah.
based on my COVID experience throughout COVID of not getting it and drinking lots of bourbon on the road, I was pretty convinced that
Cleans it out.
It kills it.
bourbon was the COVID killer for
There
me.
we
He
go.
kills it.
And it wasn't until this year I got COVID. So,
Some say it was a vaccine.
or last year, March.
I
Yeah.
say drink whiskey.
I did a combination of all. So,
Yeah.
cover all my bases.
Well-rounded.
Yeah. But so anyways, that first year, so the little inside knowledge on that is with the tickets, VIP tickets, it's only 1 ticket up on floors 2 and 3
Yeah.
at all the other tasting areas. Where with the VIP, I mean, it may be 5 or 6 VIP tickets, or
Yep.
if you want Pappy 25, you're spending like 60 tickets or something like that. You gotta go buy a shit ton more.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had tasted the stuff we wanted to taste in the VIP. Go upstairs. Was that the Gaydar day, or was that not the Gaydar day? That was the second.
And then the second year.
Okay, we'll get to that one too.
Okay.
I
But
think the first year we were really in like just enveloped in like the scene
Yeah.
yeah,
and the whiskey. And
Oh my
honestly,
God.
I think in some ways we were just enveloped in just being out
Yep,
and about.
yeah,
After
let's-
the
'cause-
pandemic,
yeah.
besides
COVID.
going to work,
Yep, you're
I
right.
think we were looking for
So we did buy extra tickets, and
I had
Drink
a
tickets,
favorite that day. It was Old Fitz 10-year. And oh my goodness gracious, that was epic. I fell in love with 10-year. I did. It was so good. It was, I still dream about it. I don't have it. But I
I
dream
know,
about it.
and I have your 19 year. So
Yeah, I know. Shut up.
so we had a lot of half-ounce pours with the extra tickets
Yes, we
that we
did.
bought,
Yes,
and
we did.
probably way too many.
Yeah.
We shared though. We were all
We
shared
did.
together. We are a
Mhm.
throuple.
So afterwards, we come back to my house, and a couple other friends, Ben and Lisa, came over,
Ugh.
and we're all sitting out on the porch drinking. And Scott, I think Embry.
Nope, he was
Nope.
the second year.
So he wasn't here, Pappy
No,
here,
it was just us
and Ben and Lisa.
and Ben and
Yeah.
Lisa.
So at that point, I thought, you know what,
And the
I'm here
cigars.
with, and we had cigars.
Yeah,
that
we
night
did.
too.
Happy cigars.
And I thought, you know what, I had recently got a 10-year old Rip Van Winkle, brought it out. Not what I would have done again if I had to do it. Needless to say, Eve came out or was out there with us, looked over at the bottle, and there was about 2 inches of the bottle left. And she, thank God, took it from us and brought it in the house and brought us some other stuff for mass consumption that we really didn't need at that point. I think
It
I
wasn't.
fell asleep on the porch. Joe taught my poor son about
Oh,
some
God.
sex ed classes,
I did.
and
I did. I did.
I think he was embarrassed as hell that night.
But he learned something. So
Oh, I'm sure he did.
yes, he did.
How old was he? 4 years ago.
14
He's what?
Ugh,
March.
we shouldn't give Joe bourbon.
So, anyways, Eve saved my bottle. I still have just a little bit left.
Bye 10-year.
It's every year there's a little something. There's just a little something. So
But you know that the thing I'm thinking though is, even though I have that much, it's all about sharing it,
It really is.
experiencing it with friends, and that's why I have it.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to slow down buying, be a little more selective now, but
That makes sense.
selective of my
Selective for the show.
selective of my friends.
There we
That's
go.
what I'm.
Mhm.
No. Of
There's
the
certain
bottles.
friends.
You know, after 3 years, and what Ryan's kind of alluding to last year when we went, I don't know. I think we just kind of had like a different experience.
Well,
Which
one
is
we
fine. They
one
were
we had
all-
most of the stuff in my basement that
Right.
they had.
Yes.
Right. We were constantly saying we could have just stayed at Ryan's house and had this. And we could have just done this. But I also like to what you just said about one of our first years, if not the first year. It's about that experience, and I don't think we engaged too much.
We did not.
Was last year the year that the two guys had the matching shirts on, or was that the year
That was
before?
Well, we'll have our It Starts With Whiskey shirts when we
well,
go in.
well,
Yeah,
the one I took a picture with.
yeah. They had
That
those
was
pink,
that was
pink shirts.
that was last year.
with the plaid on it.
Leave it to
that
Joe.
was, to me, that what I recall at the whiskey fest, or bourbon fest. That was the extent of our socializing. Was actually talking to these poor guys who probably fell for that TikTok video where their girlfriends gave them their
Oh
shirts
my
to
God,
wear
that
for
was
the day.
hilarious. That was
And they
hilarious.
show up to the bourbon fest with pink
And,
plaid shirts on.
and of course, somebody had to point it out and then get a picture with them
Of course.
and make fun of them because
Yeah.
it was funny. But yeah, I still have that picture. They were
See
funny.
the
So-
website.
So it was the second year that we were at was it Vicus? Is it Vicus? Bourbon?
Oh yeah, where the guy was eyeballing your sexiness.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Ryan is always getting picked up by men.
Yeah, but at least his gaydar is getting a little bit better.
I'm
Hold on, I'll get it.
Oh, my friend is getting.
Yeah,
I need a little more in my life.
Actually, Ryan was
Thank you.
okay. So there was a year that the three of us
You
were
want
by
a nice
ourselves.
Oh, way better with a cube.
Yeah.
Way better with a cube. Way better with a cube.
So we do plan on bringing you guys some stories, or the
Big
listeners, some good stories from travel.
You'll have fun.
We're gonna, just Joe and Athena and I are traveling. We'll try to make some recommendations at locations on good whiskey bars, good restaurants to eat at.
How many places do you go? Typically.
In a year? What are you doing?
Lots of places.
Yeah. Well, I've got 21 in the United States and Canada that I go to.
Bars?
No, cities.
Oh, I was gonna say just 21.
3 bars per city.
No, I know bars. And then I'm going on a trip, a solo trip to Ireland, and then I'll be in Jackson, Mississippi. So 23 right now, but it'll grow
Scheduled for this year,
for this year.
and we're gonna
So
do
Joe
we're
will
gonna
be
do a
special guest
podcast.
star.
Yeah, Joe is our special guest,
Special guest
this week,
appearance.
and
Yeah.
We got to get to testing you. You can cut this part out, but we got to get to testing you on the road because
Yeah.
otherwise we need to figure out.
Well,
that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
I thought you weren't traveling.
You know what? I wasn't supposed to, but I'm a giver.
Your work relationship is a whole lot like private relationship.
It is.
It
Shut
changes
your mouth.
week to week. Leave that shit in there.
Oh my God!
oh
Stop
Lord,
it. No, but I will go places, and when we see different distilleries we want to go to and try, I can try them. Or you're like, hey Joe, I'm gonna come out, and we can have a.
so we need some donors that want to
Right.
Yeah.
support
We'll set
our
up that
Rick
page-
Steves travel tour
Set
here.
up that
of
Patreon
whiskey.
page for travelwithjojo.com.
We've also been chatting with a lot of local local restaurants, and
Yeah.
we want to bring in some different perspectives. We've got a friend of mine runs an Irish pub. His dad owns an Irish pub downtown. Probably bring him in to Irish whiskey. Although he says he doesn't know much about Irish whiskey, maybe I bring his dad in instead.
I'll find out when I go to Ireland. Yeah.
Excited for this.
Yeah. It's gonna be
Just-
fun.
I'm not sure if we added to our introductions, so we talked about being professionals. We've talked about Ryan traveling. We've talked about Joe traveling. I don't think we talked about what it is we do in our jobs. So, or maybe a little bit more on the personal side about us.
Okay.
Since this is an introduction episode, what do you guys?
Yeah,
wanna
go for
do
it.
to Spin around. Okay, so, let's see, where do I want to start with this? So, exciting alcohol news this week. My child just turned 21 a couple of days ago. Here.
Here.
And
Good
then
kid.
That would be 21 years with the child and 24 years coming up with my partner. I am a full-time HR professional at a very large organization. You might have heard of it, the Postal Service. I do work for our headquarters organization, and specifically within HR, I work in leadership and career development. So I don't know all things HR, but I knew a little bit about HR. I'm sure you'll figure out some of that stuff as we're talking and going through our extra quips and stories.
And all
along
the
the way.
disclaimers you make us say before
Yeah,
our HR
yeah,
department
yeah.
busts us.
Right. In my opinion, and based on what you said, and all of those things. But yeah, so that's a little bit more about me.
But because you're my best friend, I have to chime in. Dude, she's super great at her job. It's funny because I'm doing things at my job and she's like, tell me more. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please stop. I'm like, I'm not at work. But no, she's really good at what she does. When I have questions about training or driving engagement or gosh, anything, I'll bounce things off of her. So it's really, really cool that she is in the field that she's in. And, she, I mean, gosh, she chose my ass to be a best friend. So I'm super excited.
I don't
I'm
think you
super
said
grateful.
best friend, did you?
You did not, but I really am. And I'm not
Okay,
saying
I'm
that.
just- I'm
You did
just
not say
throwing
best
that
friend.
out there.
I'm just, I keep having to say it. 'Cause,
I'm so sorry.
I still love you. No, she's my best friend.
So we're still waiting to hear, what do you do exactly? Because this is the answer we get all the time is I travel.
I do
23,
travel.
23 trips.
That's way more than 23. It's quite funny. Let's see. I am a food safety and quality professional. Don't ask me how I got here. Don't ask me what I know.
Do?
No, you can ask me what I
Okay.
do. I just won't tell you where I work because I didn't get HR's permission. But I work for a company who is they're huge, but they're privately owned, which is fantastic. It's small town feel, a little bit, but they're big. They're humongous. And we supply ingredients for baking. And I am working in the distribution sector. So I'm helping the distribution centers with quality practices. What's quality? What's food safety? Because at the end of the day, I know you need to ship. I know these orders need to go to this customer, but it needs to be safe. We need to know about food safety. So that's kind of what I'm teaching this group. And I love working with men. They're not catty. They're so easy to work with.
Yes, they
oh
are.
my
I know,
gosh!
Ryan.
Especially when they swish,
Yeah.
or when you
Swish.
tell them you're swishing in your mouth.
I know. Stop it.
Especially your teeth.
No. But no, they're just wonderful to work with. I just adore all my boys. I love working with all of them. They're great. This is the first time
HR talking. Appreciate diversity.
I do appreciate diversity.
Just
I'm
kidding.
on the inclusion
Just
council.
kidding.
You stop it right now.
I am.
I'm inclusion. I am a diversity candidate. However, I really like working with men because I can piss them off, but we can go have a beer after work. It's water under the bridge. It's not a big deal, and we can have a discussion about it, and they don't hold grudges.
We
Not
just
all
we
women-
just lost half our listeners.
I know we did. Cut me out. Do you want me to start over again?
No. I don't have that much time in my week to.
But that's just that is my take on it. That's my opinion. And you guys can get on and bash me all you want. But most of the women that I've worked with hold grudges. There's one woman that didn't talk to me for like 2 years because she held a grudge and she was on my team. So it's just easier to work with men. But food safety and quality on the distribution side. So yeah, I love my job. I love what I do, and I have fun.
Relationship, because when I met that girl that you didn't talk to for 2 years, we're like this.
I know you are. And her and I are like this now. So I am her sis. She calls me sis. So we're cool. And she's a great person, and we're good. It just took a minute. To you, Ryan.
To me?
He's to my right.
Yeah, so I was just getting ready to say, I apologize. I'm looking to my left. I've got Joe on my left, Athena on my right. This is our first go round at this, and
Yeah.
we're definitely going to have to get the camera stuff set up, I think, differently next time.
Leave it to Ryan.
Because
He's our
people
tech guy.
think I'm looking at teleprompters, but Joe's my teleprompter right now. I need the stop. So, anyways, a little bit about me.
Yep.
I manage a software and hardware engineering company here in West Michigan. And we also focus in warehousing, distribution, manufacturing is our primary line of work. My background is engineering. And I will throw out, I'm a Buckeye. And I just lost all of the Michigan folks.
Oh,
But
it's okay. You can stay here.
We're here.
but we have a very strong West Michigan group, and so
Well, tell them about your wife, Ryan.
Oh my God! Yeah, tell
Speaking
her.
of strong Michigan group.
Eve is fantastic.
Yeah.
she
by the way.
is. She's a good wife.
Eve keeps them
Whoa,
in
she's
check.
beyond a wife. She's like a super great girl. She's a
She
super
manages
great
me.
person.
She
Puts up with his ass.
Yeah.
You know what? I am the only one on this podcast that has swore. I'm glad we don't have to
He
bleep.
said shit.
Did he?
I said shit,
I'm so proud of you, Ryan.
I might have.
and it
It just
might
slips
get
right in
worse.
there.
But
I can't wait to talk about your gaydar more, Ryan.
Yeah, me too.
oh,
It's gonna be
To come.
good.
or lack of.
It's gonna be good.
Oh my
You
God,
got a
gay
couple of good
boys.
gaydar stories.
Oh right, I forgot about the
Quinn and Tui's?
yeah.
Oops. You can
That
cut
wasn't
out.
there.
Can you cut that out?
I
Are
can-
we supposed to cut that out?
I don't know. Hey, they're getting free promotion, free promotional ads here.
We're fixing-
This is really good with a cube.
It is. It's.
McKenna with a cube.
I have 3 bottles of that downstairs. I always pick it up for you and my
You
friend
do?
Bob,
Your friend
Oh.
Joe.
and then you guys.
Yeah, it's good.
I would drink this.
Got a bottle I'll sell you downstairs.
It's not a bad price point. Joe,
What?
wait.
59.
So Ryan, you said yours is online for 700,
6.
and you can keep this or not keep it. I'm just chatting. So, what? How much is yours? Michter's, is that like a
God.
medium range?
Yeah.
40.
50 to 70?
I think
50 to
40.
60 maybe?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah. But I love my new thing is rye.
I
I've
think
got a few good ones up there for you to try.
Well, you got one. You haven't popped it yet. We're gonna pop it together.
I think that's one thing. Like while we're talking, and I don't know, do we want to wrap this up?
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Probably.
Because
I think we're running out of shit.
We're about to.
We're
be
at
like,
42
"Ooh,
minutes right now. Yeah, 42
They
minutes.
don't want to listen.
I didn't think we'd talk for.
It's a good start. I think we'll be a
We'll
little
get
more
better.
structured
We'll get better.
after this one. This was
Yeah.
more introduction and stuff, and
Now you know a little bit about us.
so some of the things, like I said earlier, we want to do, give some restaurant stuff, maybe
Yeah.
some food pairing,
Yeah.
a little bit of maybe more on supply chain or HR in the whiskey
Mhm.
industry,
Yeah.
and even looking at possibly definitely some guests coming on and
Yep,
talking
yep.
about diversity, different point of views and things like that. So
Yeah, Ryan and I definitely have a list of guests, and we will definitely come with lots of an array of topics.
probably
I'm
will
excited.
take us eventually. We'll
I'm
get
excited.
focused down, but right now there's just so many funny stories to tell
Oh my
about
gosh, we're ridiculous.
life on the road.
Oh my god, life on the road is insane. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different world.
So with that, I think we're
Yeah.
going to wrap things up tonight,
Yeah,
and we'll be coming back shortly, and
Yeah.
we're going to try to get them out every couple weeks
Yep.
or so.
Yeah.
So
Come
Thanks
back.
for joining us on our first episode of It Starts With Whiskies. We hope
And-
you guys will all continue to come back and tell your friends, and
ended down a rabbit hole somewhere,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
That's good.
Starts with whiskey.
Yeah.
Who knows where it'll end?
Who knows?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.